Okay, so if you're watching this today, welcome to this live stream. Later it's going to be recording. If you're a man, high performing man struggling with IBS, whether you've got your symptoms under control a little bit some of the time, or they're totally crazy and out of control, this is going to be for you. And a few questions that have come across my way, I've wrote them down, so I'm going to be referring to my notes, and I've got some really interesting statistics to share with you. And also, I'm going to be passing things on to you from my experience, drawn from 23 years in the military, whilst having IBS, hitting the highest rank that a soldier can get to, and how I did that. It'll become relevant in a minute to Benjamin's question. We're going to talk about again, and we've done these videos again, but it needs covering. We're going to look at IBS and cancer, the correlation, the differences, etc., and do a little bit of a, not too much of a deep dive on that, but we're going to at least an overview and discuss some things around that to give you some things to consider from this video today. And it's going to be a game changer for you. You'll be more aware and more in control of yourself. And then leading on towards the end, there's 3 to cover today. I want to keep it to these lives to a rule of 3 because of time and everything. And the last one then, Victor, is going to be covering about fake gurus, health coaches. And don't think you know, like I did. Yeah, there's a couple of fake gurus here, there, and everywhere. In 2021, it was bad. It's 2026 now. We've got artificial intelligence to our fingertips, AI, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, all this stuff. It's crazy. It's like 10x. And I'm going to share with you some proper statistics, what I've done some research on, and then I'm going to give you some red flags. You're going to be forewarned and forearmed after this, that's for sure. So you'll know how to move forwards in your life with your health. And this is not just IBS. This is anything, because you can get coaching for anything, can't you? Or consultations, whether it's personal training, business, health, all this stuff. But we are specifically looking at, and the research that I've done, health coaches. So don't go anywhere. That's pretty much an overview of what you're going to get today. It's going to leave you at the end of this session, guys. It's going to leave you more informed, intelligently thought, so you can make intelligent decisions and understand things, because you don't know what you don't know. And then when you do know it, you're like, I didn't know that. If what I've said already, you think, yeah, well, I already know that, don't be a know-it-all. That's the biggest thing. If you're watching this as an entrepreneur or a thought leader, you'll know exactly where I'm coming from. It's don't close your mind off to anything in life. Always have an open mind and think, actually, let's hear what this person, whether it's Glenn, whether it's anybody else, has got to say, because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. And certainly when I was in the military as a regimental sergeant major, the highest rank in the army, managing 600 personnel with the commanding officer, I was never a know-it-all. I was always open to ideas, solutions, and things off the younger soldiers, that are private soldiers that have just been in the army 2 minutes, because you'll be amazed what value people can add, and just even if they put a different spin on it. Okay, so there we go. So let's dive straight in. Before we do get going, it's crazy as well. Some of these statistics blew my mind when I was researching them, especially on question 3. Now, why listen to me if you're new to this channel? If you're not new, I know Benjamin's question, which we're going to answer first. It sounds like you've been following us. Thank you, because your question is quite specific to content that I've shared before, but it's going to help everybody else watching this. If you're new to the channel, Men's IBS Mastery, and if you haven't subscribed, my only ask of you is to subscribe. It's not for my ego. I don't care. This content is free. What me and my wife and business partner, Charlie Jean, give to the community. The majority, probably 95, 98% of people watching these videos will never work with me and my wife, and that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. But, you know, as per the Bible with God, I'm a Christian and I believe in, you know, the teachings from Jesus Christ. We should always give, regardless, it's not about the money. It's just about giving your knowledge, your wisdom, and sharing that to help other people succeed on the life. As Sabri Subi says, if you've heard of an Australian entrepreneur, when you're on your way up in the elevator, hit the button and press it so it goes back down for everyone else, and help them come up as well. Not just financially, whether it's in business, but in life as well. It's all about bringing people on and developing the younger generations, and obviously older people as well. So why listen to me if you're new to the channel? My name's Glenn Cook Winchurch. The signature thing is there somewhere. And I've had IBS since 2003. I'm not going to go into my story on this. There's other videos that cover that, but I got it from Iraq, pretty much in a nutshell, through trauma, gut conditions and things in Iraq in 2003 from the war. Came back and my gut was in turmoil after that, progressively getting worse over time. I was diagnosed, I left it for 10 years to without getting diagnosed. It's the most stupid thing looking back that I ever did. Because you don't know what you don't know. And I guess an element of it was ignorance as well, maybe stubbornness, that it could have been something else. And that's going to be pertinent to question 2 when we come on to the cancer and the IBS stuff as well. So I've had IBS a long time, since 2003. Blimey. That said, my IBS today, and since I met Charlie Jean at the time, my friend and then girlfriend, and we got married and had a daughter, we were in the military together as friends. She used to be a combat chef, and having worked with the special forces, the SAS, with all their nutritional requirements, she then left the army to become a registered dietitian and a sports nutritionist. And today she's a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist, if I've got that right, as well. So 2 MSCs, diplomas, bachelor's degrees coming out of her ears, and that again, I'm not telling you this for ego. I'm just trying to give you that certainty that you're listening to me. Who am I? And especially when we come on to the question later on about fake gurus and health coaches, that I'm not going to be studying saying I've got IBS and sorted my IBS out, so I'm going to sort you out too, because that's exactly who not to listen to. So this is not bro science. This is not bro science. This is everything I say and do is backed up with, yes, my lived experience, the last 7 years, sorry, of working with Charlie Jean closely now on our business, Men's IBS Mastery, and certainly when she runs her inner circle type one-on-one stuff premium with her premium clients, the IBS Performance Edge, then I work with her as well on the live Q&As and stuff as well. So I'm always in the loop with things. And that said, everything's backed up with her as well. So what we do when we deliver content, guys, it's through experience from me having IBS. We help high performing men. I was and still am that guy, high performance, resilient, robust, fit, everything else. And again, I'm not saying that through ego. I'm just telling you and passing on to you as an example. So if you're watching this, you think, yeah, that's me, I'm like that, or I want to be like that, then we'll get you there. Watch the content, put things into practice, and act on it as well. Happy with that? So 23 years in the military, reached the highest rank a soldier can get to, not an officer. Remember, officer is different. If you're in the US, it might be the same. So all the way to warrant officer class 1, regimental sergeant major, RSM. And a big chunk of that career from corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant and warrant officer was with IBS. So certainly junior management, junior leadership, senior management, senior leadership, and then obviously some stressful environments, a lot of pressure whilst managing or mastering IBS. And I'm passing that on to you. I'm passing this on to you so you can do the same. And also the content that Charlie Jean's done. She's a former NHS registered dietitian. She's still a registered dietitian. You can check her out on the register, and she's on there, and she practices and she works specifically with high performance men with irritable bowel syndrome. She doesn't do IBD and cancer and all the other stuff and Crohn's and all that anymore. She still can, but she specifically works with men with IBS. So if you're a man watching this, an entrepreneur, athlete, business leader, even a senior veteran like I am, a veteran, and you're in a high performance job, middle management, senior management, this is for you. This is what we're going to do, is take you from wherever you are, IBS not that bad yet, had a diagnosis, not had a diagnosis, to IBS is absolutely crazy. It's mad. And I really need help with this. We'll help you as best we can. Obviously, the free content, remember, is just like an hors d'oeuvre. It's the tip of the iceberg. The depth, as you will, would be, again, not self-promoting. If you were to work with somebody and pay, obviously you get what you pay for in life, is my belief. You should always be willing to invest, because it's an investment in yourself, to get expert guidance, consultations, but not what we're going to cover in question 3. Definitely not. And maybe you've been stung in the past. Maybe you've been stung in the past. You've worked with people, you've worked with a number of people, and you've not got the outcome. Well, when we come on to this question, you might be thinking, darn, that's the reason why. Happy with that? Let's dive in then. So question 1, glasses on and off for this, guys. Benjamin, I mean, this is going to cover, I guess we're going to cover morning routine, habits, high performance men with IBS, because Benjamin, if you're watching this, when you get around to watching this, thanks for your question. Amazing. And it sounds like you've listened to either podcasts or watched YouTube videos of ours before, because your question's quite, I guess, tailored to something I've shared before. So I'll read it as you've mentioned it in the email. How did you manage your IBS as a senior warrant officer? I think you meant to say RSM, to lead and manage over 600 soldiers and multi-millions of dollars worth of equipment, including vehicles, weapons, etc. In this probably what sounds like a stressful environment. Okay, so first and foremost, let's unpack it, because, and that's a really good question. That is a really good question, and I'm going to break that down into bite-sized chunks so everybody can take a piece of it. Will definitely be helpful to, if you're watching this at varying different levels. And the reason I like that is obviously it's difficult. So let's talk about the rubbish, the shit to start with, no pun intended, of IBS. And I've had bad days, even when I've had I know all my symptoms, triggers, and what causes my IBS. I still have blips every now and again. We all do. There's no cure out there. So anybody that tells you they can cure your IBS or get your IBS gone forever, permanently, is talking out of their hoop. They really are. And I'm telling you that as a friend, as a veteran, as a ex-RSM and now entrepreneur. They are talking shite. Don't listen to them. There is no cure. And there isn't some miracle solution or supplement or anything that can just eliminate IBS all the time. So I have blips every now and again. And IBS, here's the thing, can be caused by different stuff, can't it? You hopefully know that. The majority of it is caused by food or ingredients, different foods, maybe drink, maybe caffeine, alcohol. I'm not going to go all through the whole list of foods that can cause IBS. And the other element to it is stress, isn't it? Trauma, PTSD, different kinds of trauma, anxiety, depression. So if you're starting to have all this stuff going on inside, without, again, I'm not going to go into the science of it. I'll leave that to Charlie, call Charlie Jean CJ. I'll leave that to CJ, my wife, business partner. But it all has an effect. And I'm speaking from experience as well with that. Now, what I've shared before, what I'll share now, is I worked with CJ back in, blimey, I'm going back a while now. I tell you what, I was a staff sergeant. So I was a senior non-commissioned officer in Warminster. And at the time, I was an instructor. I was teaching fire support group for the lads going out to Afghanistan. So I was teaching FSG, which is heavy machine gun, grenade machine gun, javelin missile, and general purpose machine gun. So all machine guns. I was teaching that. So it was a very busy, tiring job. Always in classrooms, out on the area, doing this, that, and the other. And at that time, I'd gone through a divorce, horrible, horrific divorce. If you've been through one, you know where I'm coming from. And I've got 3 children, they're grown up now, to my previous wife. So I was trying to see them on the weekends, trying to do this really busy, full-on job in the cat badge that I was in at the time, the Small Arms School Corps. And it was crazy. And I was single at the time, so obviously I'd not quite met CJ at this stage. And my symptoms were all over the place. I tried everything in the past. And, bloating. Normally I have a 6-pack then. Not now. But I used to had a quite shredded. But half the time I just looked like I had a swollen stomach. You know where I'm coming from? Like bloating. And not massive, but mild bloating. And it was horrible. So it was really, really difficult in terms of trying to do my lesson preparation, manage the soldiers, leadership as you will, going out on fitness, on battle PT, when you've got all this, like mine's IBS diarrhea predominant, so I had IBS-D. So when you feel like you're going to fart and follow through, and you're on a run with the lads, and you're meant to be their commander, it's freaking awful. And I've come close. Well, I've had a few accidents, but I've come close a few times at that stage. So when I met CJ, and she pretty much said, after we got talking, got to know each other, I think you've got IBS. Have you had a diagnosis? And I hadn't. So clearly she's like saying, you're going to be careful because it could be IBD. And she started listing all this stuff, because she's a dietitian, of what it could be. And obviously the big C was up there. So I thought, I'm not messing around. I've got 3 kids. So I went and got a diagnosis. And then thereafter, I think dogs have given me fleas. Thereafter, she helped me and said, look, do you want me to help you get this squared away? I can't cure it, but with my help, we can understand your triggers, trigger identification, know what's causing these symptoms. And you should, if you put the work in and put the effort in and listen to me and act on what I'm saying, be coachable. You should be able to feel good most of the time. I was like, I'm all in. So that's just a side note, just to give you some context. Because I wasn't always, and I never have been always, on form in the army. I've struggled with IBS to do things with when it comes to managing and leadership. And I've tried I've still got there, and I've climbed up the ranks and got to the highest rank. So it's been challenging, even more challenging than somebody else that hasn't got IBS. So if you're like me, whether you're in the military or you are in a high profile job, I'm an entrepreneur, or you've got a business to run and you've got meetings and stuff, and you've got IBS in the background like a dark cloud, I get it. It's freaking hard work. So good for you for grizzing on and getting on with it and trying to do what you do with all that going on. And Benjamin, if you're listening to that, it's flipping nails. Now, the good news is coming on to first and foremost, and before we move on, as you can probably tell, and I'm alluding to, is it's investing in yourself. Thankfully, I didn't pay any money to CJ because she was my girlfriend, and we ended up getting engaged and married. But had that have not been my girlfriend, knowing what I know now, and she'd have said that it was somebody I wasn't in a relationship with, and they were going to help me with this, I would have paid. Now I've paid, as a side note, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars invested in myself, whether it's skills in marketing, sales, different types of entrepreneurial stuff, whether it's in my personal training, my fitness. I've had fitness coaching. So I'm not shy to investing in myself, and you shouldn't be either. And again, I'm not telling you that to sell you anything. I'm passing on an amazing mindset to have. And if you're an entrepreneur, you get where I'm coming from. You are your biggest investment, not saving money in the bank, not stocks and shares or frigging Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it's called, cryptocurrency, or anything else out there. You are your biggest investment. And obviously the second biggest investment, if you've got one, is your business. But again, you've got to look after yourself. So invest in yourself, whether it's, you're watching content, reading books, applying the knowledge, what's being given to you, and getting yourself sorted out, getting yourself to that next level. So that's what I did. That said, I wasn't sorted all the time. Circling all the way back to trauma, PTSD crept its sneaky head up from Iraq. Remember I said I had IBS from Iraq? Now I've done several tours, handful of tours, and one was Kosovo, where I was visiting mass graves because obviously the Serbians were slaughtering the Albanians and everything else out there. So I was visiting mass graves. I was based across from a primary school, where someone had been in and shot all the teachers and children. So there was dried blood and gunshot holes everywhere. I saw arms, legs, heads, all this stuff. If you're squeamish, you're like, I'm turning this off. So I used to get nightmares from that. And they didn't bother me at first. And then stuff that happened in Iraq, I saw a little girl burning to death in Iraq. Well, I don't know if she died, but she was on fire, like with phosphorus, like melting. And and she's running towards me, and I couldn't do anything about it. Screaming, help me, holding this phosphorus grenade, and it was just burning. And anyway, so that's, again, shared this before, and it's shared in our book that's coming out soon, Men's IBS Secrets. But later down the line, because I suppressed that, as you do as a man, yeah, I'll be all right, just get on with it. Then later down the line, that come out. I was getting nightmares, disturbing my sleep, being a bit angry, a bit irritated, and it got worse and worse. And I got help with it. I've been to see psychologist, CBT. Again, investing in yourself. I paid thousands for psychologist treatment and CBT investment. Put that into practice, what they said. PTSD now is managed. Do you know what I mean? IBS symptoms back to normal. Because my symptoms were coming back, and I said to CJ, I said, why are my symptoms coming back? I understand what causes IBS symptoms. It's not just food and drink, it's stress as well. So what's going on up there as well as what's going on down there. So just as a side note, all that said, and again, I don't apologize for going off on a tangent, because I'm trying to help you understand this if you're watching it, so you get it. That said, how did I, and circling back to Ben's question, Benjamin, if you don't mind me calling it, How did you manage your IBS as that senior warrant officer? Well, first and foremost, I'd already invested in myself and my time and my, in terms of my time with CJ, and I knew my blueprint. I knew what foods to avoid or how to make meals and swap ingredients around so I didn't get any IBS symptoms. So my IBS was under control pretty much all of the time. So that's the first thing. So I'm not going to lie to you and say I was this RSM and I was juggling IBS nightmare with managing 600 people, because I wasn't. But that said, not many years before that, I was. And it's a journey. And so I'm going to, because I think where you're at, Benjamin, if I'm not wrong, because you're asking me that question, is you're kind of asking me, maybe you are in a similar position where you are managing and trying to lead men and women in a business or whatever, and it's quite stressful, there's quite a lot of pressure going on. So let's talk about that. And that was me as well, before CJ helped me. How did I manage it? Well, first and foremost, I had a really solid morning routine, which I stumbled across it because back then I didn't read self-development books. So I'd not read like Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning or Mark Wahlberg's 3 a.m. Club or anything like that. I naturally got up at 5 a.m., sometimes a bit earlier if I had something on because of the army. So I start work at 8 a.m. in the army, normally, 8 o'clock. So you start early, it's not 9 like civilians. Sometimes it's earlier. So I always used to get up at 5 a.m. and knowing then I had that window of opportunity of, what's that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 hours, 3 hours where I can do stuff before work wants to suck my time out of me, and obviously IBS. So obviously I'd get up in the morning and I'd feel okay. I'd go to the toilet and I used to drink loads of water, maybe half a litre, 3/4 of a litre of water. I'm okay with caffeine. I don't know if you are, so something to check. But for me, I'm fine with black coffee. So I'd have a really, really strong cold brew black coffee, caffeine hit after about 20 minutes of waking up. And then I'd get my fitness kit on. I'd have it all laid out the night before. And I'd either, if it's not raining, go for a run, 5-7 kilometre run. Nice, either a fast run or a steady state zone 2 run. Again, I'm not going into the science of, like, it's not a personal training fitness lesson. So I'd do my fitness. Then I'd come back and I'm doing that fasted. All I've had is water and coffee. So, and then come back from that run, nice cold shower, stretch off obviously first, cold shower. And you feel good, don't you? Especially fasted. For me, I love training in the morning fasted. If it's not a huge session, if it's a huge session, you need fuel. But that's just what works for me. It might not work for you. Again, I'm not promoting fasted training, because if you don't listen to this and go, I'm just going to train fasted and do a marathon, because you'll probably collapse. You need fuel. So this is for short runs. Or if it was really raining badly outside or freezing cold, icy, I'd go to the gym and do a fasted session in the gym, strength or some cardio. Happy with that? And I'd always do at least 3 strength sessions a week and a couple of runs. Keeping myself fit. You've got to keep yourself fit, whether you're in the military or not, as a man. Resilience, mental fitness, physical fitness. Key for anything. If you're leading your family, your wife, your kids, you lead by example. And yeah, so always doing that. Right, so that's having a good morning routine. You've got to set yourself up for success. Setting yourself up for success, that's what it is, to win the day. Because IBS is going to come in it at some point. It might come in the morning. So again, you've got to play around with this. If you get up in the morning, and I've got up in the morning, and your IBS is crazy, or you just don't, if you feel rubbish, you've got stomach pain and bloating, and you're like, oh, as if I'm going for a run today feeling like this. I've only just managed to scrape myself off the toilet. And I've been there. The thing there to do is, once you can get off the toilet, maybe you've had some Buscopan or whatever you need, still fasted, I would do exercise, even if it's just yoga or light stretching. I would do something, movement. You've got to move your body in the comfort and security and away from everybody in the house for 40 minutes. Yeah. And now you can put YouTube on. Watch this. After this, put a YouTube video on of indoor fitness and just go crazy and do a circuit inside. And then you're close to the toilet, so you don't need to dive in a bush. Do you know what I mean? But set yourself up, get that fitness done in the morning, because you need to do fitness. And if you've got IBS constipation, IBS-C, moving is the best thing you can do, because it'll get everything moving around. And then your toilet's next to you if you're in the house. You can go and dash and have and have a number 2. Happy with that? Set yourself up. Then it doesn't end there. So you've done the fitness, you've done the shower, you've done the stretching. Then I would, after that, eat breakfast. Now, breakfast, again, you've got to understand this way. You need to know what causes your triggers. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you've got a bit of an idea. A bit of an idea. For me, and you can use this as a protocol if you want, it worked for me. I would have 50 grams of overnight soaked oats, porridge oats, because it's loads of carbs. Amazing for energy. And you've got the fibre in there, a bit of protein and various other bits and pieces. So I would soak 50 grams in a pot. Yep, with almond milk or oat milk. I'm all right with dairy, but I just use that because it's, I guess, healthier, less fat. And I would chuck in 20 grams of almonds or walnuts for fats. So I've got my carbs, my fats, a bit of calcium in the milk, and then I would have that with the protein shake. Yep, 40 grams of protein in a 100% whey protein, not the rubbish that you get that's like vanilla and chocolate cookie crumble and rhubarb, this, that, the other rubbish, because they're full of ultra processed and they're full of sweeteners and stuff. I mean, protein powder's processed anyway, but if you get that, for me, I used to, and I still do now, I get just the whey protein powder, and I'm okay with that. You might not be if you've got maybe you've got, I don't know, some dairy intolerance or whatever, but if you've been tested for it, fine. If you haven't, go get tested. So it's playing around with it and understanding what you're okay with. I'd have a banana and some fruit. So in the morning, yeah, pretty much what in a nutshell: porridge, protein, powder, and some fruit and nuts. And that would see me easily for 3 or 4 hours till I'm in work. And I wouldn't get any symptoms, no symptoms. And I'd go into work, and I did this as RSM as well. So when I was RSM, I did exactly the same, and it worked. And go into work in my office, sit down before I open that computer, and all the freaking crazy emails are coming in. Everybody wants your attention in high profile job, don't they? Everybody, they just want a piece here. It's like, right, before any of that crazy stuff happens, I'm still looking at me. I'm looking at my clock, and I'm like, right, I've got about an hour left before the craziness starts. Yeah, guess what? For me, I said before, Christian, I pray, do my prayers always to the man above, to the boss, meditate, and then during that meditation, I'll go into that meditation, visualizing for the day ahead being a good day, positive day. Really, really well. It's going really, really well. Everything's great. It might not go great. It might be drama, but I'd always set myself up for success. Do you see what I mean? And that, you'd be surprised. Even just doing breathing exercises, just doing some good breathing exercises, box breathing, and just get your mindset sorted out. Done your fitness, physical, done. Now it's mental. And then here, journal, write down goals, gratitude, all that sort of stuff. And then and only then, after I've got another coffee, the computer used to get opened. And then that's it, I'm into it. Okay. And then for lunch and, my other 2 meals at work, I would prepare my own food. I wouldn't eat rubbish from like takeaway shops and this, that, the other, because I get IBS symptoms, even when I knew what my triggers were. Always, and it's a top tip, it's best advice, and it's quicker as well. Now, if you're into your fitness and you want to look good and you want to look shredded, which you should do if you're a man, you should want to look good and look after yourself, then it's always best, and it's probably financially better as well, is take your food in. Or if you're like entrepreneur and you can't bother prepping your own food, order it prepped, and it comes in tubs and gets delivered, and put them in your freezer, and to take them out of the freezer, and then at work, launch with microwave or have a cold. That's how I used to do it. That's exactly, in terms of blueprint, you can steal that and rip it off. That used to set me up for success throughout the day. Happy with that? If I had any issues, and again, you've got to speak to your boss. I was open with this about my boss from all the way back as a staff sergeant and a warrant officer. Every time I got a new job in the army, the first thing I'd say, you always have an interview with your commander. And during that interview, I'd have notes. I'd write everything down, what I want to cover. Clearly, it's about them as well. Is my health. And I would always say and be open with them, because it's integrity. And one of the army principles is integrity. You've got to be integral with people. And I would say, sir or ma'am, something you need to be aware of, and it's not a drama, something you need to be aware of. I've got irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea predominant. You can leave that bit out if you want. Have you heard of it, ma'am, sir? Because they might have heard of it. They might have it. They might be like, I've got it as well. Sword. We both go to the toilet together. But if they're like, oh, yeah, I've heard of it. IBS, what's that? and just in a nutshell, just share what it is. Just share with them what it is. Listen, there's a great video I've done on explaining it to your boss, and I'll put it in the link or whatever. But go check it out on our channel. It says have that discussion with your boss. Tell your boss this, and it's a blueprint. It's a script on how to frame that. So I won't go into it now. So I'd always tell them, and that again, setting yourself up for success as a professional, integral part of that team. You know, so you are leading from the front. Happy with that? What else? Oh, so we've mentioned morning routine. We've mentioned food throughout the day, sorting your meals out. Keeping hydrated is key. Water, not frigging fizzy pop, not tanning coffee like all day. Because as soon as you have too much caffeine, past midday, 1 o'clock, certainly in the later afternoon, it's going to knock your sleep. It's going to affect your sleep. So, and you don't want to be affecting your sleep, because if you have poor sleep, that affects your IBS. Stress, IBS, symptoms, food triggers, all this stuff. You see, this is why you need expert help. This is why you need expert consultations. This is why you need to invest in yourself. You can't just get everything from watching loads of videos or reading books and podcasts, because it's too clinical. Even now, as you may appreciate, like you, I would like to think I'm an intelligent guy, very, very focused and switched on. I've always been top whatever percent fitness and leading from the front. I've not always been perfect. I've made loads of mistakes, loads of failures, and I've learned from them with an open mind. And I've got photographic memory. I was gifted with a photographic memory. I can remember stupid stuff. It's crazy. But even with all that, I've tried, before I met CJ, loads of different stuff for IBS, and I didn't even have a diagnosis, so it could have been anything. But thankfully, I was trying stuff for IBS, and I did end up having IBS. You could argue that it is, thankfully, and none of it worked. And I didn't think anything could be done. I thought that was it. I'm going to be living with symptoms all over the place forever. Do you know what I mean? Now, obviously, I had a few quick wins, things that I did find out, like what I mentioned about the oats and protein in the morning and fasted training. So there was a few things that I knew, but most of the time, I used to get flare-ups in the side of the face, horrible flare-ups on the couch, feeling rubbish, glued to the toilet, late for work and this, that, the other. And again, late for work, that's why I mentioned it to your boss. So then they're like, IBS, quick text, boss, sorry, I'm glued to the loo. I get it. You've already mentioned it to them. But if you just start saying it and you've not mentioned it to them, they think you're blagging, don't they? He's pulling wool. He's been out on the lash drinking with his mates, and he's slept in, and he's saying he's glued to the toilet. Do you see what I mean? Whereas if you've planted that seed beforehand and you're setting yourself up for success. I keep saying it, but it's so true. Right, that's that one in a nutshell. If there's any questions on that from Benjamin or anybody else, put them in the comments, and I read all the comments. I don't outsource it to AI or anything like that. I read all the comments, and I will personally, when I've got time over the next few days, I'll get back to you and I'll chat to you. Okay, and that's the least I can do. And if you need any help, like I said before, if you want to speak further about what that looks like, again, just let me know. Again, this today is not a hard sell. This is just helping you. Right, cool. So next one then is, we mentioned all that sort of stuff, and yes, sleep. Just to finish off on that, make sure you get your sleep dialed in. We say it all the time. Sleep is critical to recovery and to everything. If you're a high performing man, don't, like I say, right. So I've been the opposite of this. I've drank coffee all day till 5 p.m, 6 p.m. coffee. Not good. And then I've gone to the gym in the evening. So you're even more wired because you've been training late, because I couldn't get it in through the day. This is going way back now. Still with IBS. And then just I've got maybe loads on at work, going through a divorce, loads of financial problems because of the divorce, debts, got to see my kids, but I don't know if I can see them because of IBS. Life, basically. Loads of life drama. And what happens then? And back then I didn't meditate. I didn't do breathing exercises. I didn't do any of that mindfulness stuff. I always thought it was fluff. And you go to your room. I was in a room then in the sergeant's mess, and you'd sit there, or you sit on your bed and you try and get to sleep. It's not happening, is it? You're like, oh, it's not, can't sleep. No, it's happening. So you've got it. It's all these little things that add up throughout the day, that, small compounding effects, and over the week and the months, it has a massive effect, positive effect. And again, if you don't wear a fitness device, I highly recommend wearing one. I wouldn't recommend a whoop, the rubbish. But again, I'll leave that for another YouTube video, potentially. If you want me to do a review on whoop, then leave a comment. I'll do it for you. But other than that, I'm not wasting my time doing one. But I used to wear, and I'm going back to it, Garmin Phoenix 7, Phoenix 8. They're amazing. But I do fitness as well, so use it for that. You might have Apple Watch. Get a fitness device. Get a fitness tracker. Honestly, game changer. If you've got one, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've got any recommendations, launch them in the comments for people watching this so they can think, right, I can maybe research that, what you think. I don't recommend Whoop, and I don't recommend Apple Watch. My wife's got one. I love Apple, but for me, the battery life is rubbish. What is it, 2 days, if that? Whereas Garmin, Phoenix, solar powered one, if you're out cycling and running, the battery lasts weeks. So that's why I like that one. But it could be anything. You might have a Fitbit. I used to have Fitbit. I think they've been bought out by someone now. Going off on a tangent, we'll stop there. Right, so that's it. So that is how I used to set myself up for success and lead people. Did I still have symptoms throughout all of that there? Yes, because there's no cure for IBS. There may be nights where I didn't sleep too well, maybe stress, this, that, the other, and I'd get some symptoms. But because I knew my triggers and I had CJ, I could always ask her a question. I'll pull it back in and get back on track really, really quickly like that. Okay, so happy with that. Next, Nigel. Again, the next one, I'm gonna not because to be mean or anything or not caring, because I do care, is about the cancer. I've done, and Charlie Jean has done loads of videos and content on bowel cancer and IBS. So again, check them out. Just dive into this channel. Everything is in this channel, and you'll see the titles and the thumbnails. Hopefully they'll be quite tailored to what we're talking about, and get stuck into them. And if there's any questions, let us know. But Nigel, is it IBS or bowel cancer? It's a question that men ask all the time, whether it's on Reddit, in feeds. I'm on there listening to people chatting on YouTube. And if you're not asking it, if men aren't asking it out loud, it's a fear. It's an internal fear. And if it's not a fear and you're not bothered, which some men won't be bothered, then it's either one or two reasons. You don't know, or you don't care because maybe you haven't got any kids, wife, life. I don't know. But there's reasons that not to care, isn't there? Is what I'm trying to say. But if you do care, which if you're watching this, you obviously do because you've invested in your time in watching this video, then is it IBS or bowel cancer? Could be a fear. Could be in your mind. And if it's not, you're like, you know, what do we do? Right. So the drama with it is, a lot of the symptoms for IBS are very similar to symptoms for other stuff. Now, it might not be cancer. It might be, and again, this is why you go get the diagnosis, and we'll come on to misdiagnosis in a minute very quickly. But you've had the diagnosis. If you haven't, it could be celiac disease. You might have inflammatory bowel disease. There's a number of other stuff. Bowel cancer we've mentioned. There's colon cancer that give you symptoms. So that a lot of the symptoms overlap. Now, what I want to rule out here for you now, if you're watching this, this is going to be a game changer, what I'm going to say next. Because I am absolutely sick to death. And I'm, being totally transparent with you. I'm sick to death of seeing people, so-called health professionals as well, influencers on TikTok and all over the internet, saying that IBS is a diagnosis of elimination, a process of elimination, and not a diagnosis in of itself. Now, I'm telling you now, from my experience, from having a diagnosis and going to the military doctors and going through the whole process twice, and speaking to CJ before I did this video, and speaking to health professionals recently, that is a myth. It's out of date, old rubbish BS. IBS is absolutely 100% a diagnosis that's done properly using, I think it's Rome 4 or 5 criteria. In the UK, and there's criteria that they use in the United States and Canada. It is a diagnosis of itself. Not, oh, we'll rule this out, oh, we think it's IBS. Now, playing devil's advocate, is there going to be doctors that do say, oh, I think it's IBS, just do this? Of course there is. Of course there is. We'd be stupid to say there isn't. Because here's the thing. No matter what profession men and women are in, whether it's the army, doctors, surgeons, plumbing, electricians, builders, entrepreneurs, There is some amazing, phenomenal men and women doing those jobs, correct? But guess what? At the other end of the spectrum, there is some that are completely dog shit. Even if they've got a PhD, 10 PhDs, do you know what I mean? There is, because that's human nature. There is some really, really rubbish people out there that are crap in any job. And it's crazy. In the army, I've seen people that are like high ranking officers, and you think, how the hell did you get to colonel? You've got no common sense, and you're as mad as a box of frogs, and you're stupid. How have you got there? But it baffles the brain, doesn't it? So there's doctors that make mistakes through being overworked, stressed, tired, loads of stuff going on at home themselves, maybe they're just slack. There's all these dramas, isn't there? People, it's just people. Now, where does that leave you as a guy trying to get to the bottom of everything? Go get a second opinion. If you don't trust your doctor, you think he or she is mad, go and get a second opinion, is my advice, or a third opinion. Pay for an opinion. So you're, again, investing in yourself. Now, circling it back to knowing if it's the big C, then there is some red flags that you can identify with that. Now, a lot of guys, and again, this is something you probably don't do, and it's a game changer. And you should be doing it as a man. You should be doing this in the toilet when you lock the door and there's nobody else in there. There might be somebody else in there with you. Maybe you share the toilet, I don't know. But if you're on your own, lock the door. When you've had a number two and you've wiped, or before you put the tissue in the toilet and it covers it, have a look down. It takes 2 seconds, doesn't it? It takes 3 seconds max of your life to look inside that toilet and view it. I'm led to believe, I don't know if it's true, but in Europe, in Germany, the toilets have a little ledge on them, and your poo falls on the ledge, and that's for viewing. I don't know if that's true. That's what I was told, but there is a ledge. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because they eat a lot of processed meats, I've heard, and I don't know. So have a look at it and see what's going on. Because here's the thing: when you look at it, you might see blood. Your poo might look dark, like this colour, black, really dark, tarry, like a tar. You get tar on the road. It might really smell like really bad. Bad mucus in there and blood and all this stuff. Get to the doctors ASAP and get it checked. Now, if there is, and you are seeing stuff when you look, I've never looked before. And then you go to the toilet next and you have a look. And don't get scared or don't let it overwhelm you, because it did with me. I had blood and bleeding, dark tarry stools and dark blood in mine a couple of years ago. I've shared it, and I absolutely, no pun intended, shit myself, because I've got a little girl, a family, I've got a life, got all these goals. I thought, no way. Here I am, blooming IBS man, trying to help people with this, that, the other performance. Well, I've got a lead from the front. I can't not go to the doctor. I went straight away, and it ended up being, without going into the weeds of everything, I had a colonoscopy, I had an endoscopy, H. pylori, whatever she put me on, some crazy tablets. I got a stool sample, blood test, no messing around. 24 hours later, doctor's phoning me in the cinema. I had to run out of the cinema. I was watching Mission Impossible at the time. I run out of cinema, IMAX. Yep. It's not cancer. Phew. So it ended up being an upper stomach infection that had caused that. Crazy. I was like, thankfully it's not that. And she said, no worries at all. You take these antibiotics I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you 2 lots of antibiotics. In about 4 to 5 weeks' time, you'll be good to go again. It'll clear it up. Phew. And I did. Gone. So have a look in the toilet. Check what's going on. If you see anything unusual, changing bowel habits, all the rest of it, even if you've had an IBS diagnosis before, get to doctors and get it checked again, and just tell them, sit down with them and say, look, I've looked in the toilet, there's bleeding, it stinks, it's dark, it's tarry, I'm scared it might be cancer. Can you test me, please? I flipping want this sorting out. Yep, let's get it done. Happy with that? So hopefully that'll help you out. Make sure you check it, and then get your blood counts done, your stool samples and everything from the doctor. Cool, that's it. Now, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail with it, but the bottom line with it all, Nigel asked that question, is it IBS or bowel cancer? The direct answer to that is, I don't know. Nobody on here does. The only person that can tell you that is who? Your doctor. Not some flipping naturopathic doctor or some holistic practitioner, a general practitioner in the UK, a medical doctor in the US or Canada, a proper qualified registered doctor, or get there and get it done properly. That's the only person, and that wants to get the results back and say, now, can they misdiagnose? Yes. There's been people I know and I've spoken to on the phone, seen in chats on YouTube, men with IBS that have been misdiagnosed. It's crazy, sad. They've been told, as in they've been told they've got IBS, and it's not IBS, it's cancer. And then by the time they find out it is, it's stage 4 or worse, and a lot of them are not here anymore. So where do you stand with that? Because it's the thing is, when you go for testing for IBS, IBD, all the other stuff in the UK, it's the least invasive. So and they're not doing. This is the doctors that do the job properly. They'll sit you down and say, right, have you got a family history? Has your dad, your granddad, your great granddad, have they any of them had bowel cancer that you're aware of, or cancer? Yes, no. Yes. You're going to get it tested, but no. So you got to tell them all this stuff. Go in, write things down maybe so you don't forget. What symptoms you've been having, what have you been experiencing? What was your bowel habits been like? This is why it's important to look down the toilet. It's been, I don't know, this, the colour, the shape, the size, this, that. On Monday it was this, on Tuesday it was that, and Friday it was frigging bleeding. Telling them all this stuff. Do you get any stomach pains? Where in your stomach is it hurting? Write it down in a freaking journal or diary, and then go in with it. Happy with that? Done. Right, so we've covered today, just to recap, question 1, Benjamin. We've looked at how do you manage your IBS as a high-performing man, and we covered loads of little, I guess, tips, advice around that, how I did it. Again, maybe not how you need to do it, something to play around with that might help you out. We've also just looked at, is it IBS or bowel cancer? Last one today of Victor. Ha! This one is crazy. This is the best one. This is the best one, and this is the one that if CJ was here, if I got my wife in here, this makes her blood boil. Not that she's a calm person, but this really, really tips her over the edge because she cares. She cares about you. She cares about men, humans, people, getting the outcome and living a good life and having the best available care for them. And I do as well, massively, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? You only have one life. There's too many dodgy people out there. There's good people that think they're being good and they're not. Anyway, so Victor, I've tried a few health practitioners to heal my IBS. I get what you mean. And although I did the work and what they said, I feel worse than before. Why is this? Wow. Okay. Well, first and foremost, that's fucking rubbish, isn't it? How many people do you know? Maybe it's you that have gone to people with, whether it's for free, usually for money, you've paid several $100s, maybe several thousand, and you've invested your time and your money into their advice, their help, and you're no further forward. And like Victor, you're actually not even further forward, you're all the way back, and you feel worse than before. Rubbish. Wrong. And we're going to dive into that today. About gut health gurus. I just think they're lying to you. Whether they're good people or not, they are freaking lying. They're charlatans. And this is me as an army veteran, an ex-RSM, giving you a reality check and just telling you how it is. You know what I mean? Firing from the hip. There is some good people out there that need to stay in lane. There is some, and I'm going to come on to that in a second, whether they're influencers, regardless of their income, multimillionaire, doesn't matter. Whether influencers, actors, actresses, flipping fitness bunnies, you name it, that need to stay in their lane. What I mean by that is they need to focus on what they're qualified and experienced in and help people with that, rather than spinning off on all directions and saying, I can now help you with this, that, the other. Because that's what happens a lot of the time, isn't it? Or the classic is, I've had IBS. So it'd be like me. This would be like me now making you an offer today without CJ. Put CJ to one side for a minute. And just me on my own as a one-man band doing men's IBS mastery and maybe selling a course, some coaching, and saying I can help you out because I've got my IBS sorted out and I understand it. Probably more than the average person, shall we say. So I'm going to help you out. Give me $2,000, $5,000, $1 million, and I'll help you out. It's not happening, is it? I would never do that because I'm not qualified. I'm not registered anywhere. I've not done the courses. I've not been to university. I've not worked in a professional environment, like in a hospital environment. I'm not saying you have to work in hospital, but do you see what I mean? It's wrong. What I can help somebody with is performance, mindset, resilience, training, fitness. I've got a diploma in personal training, so I can do that. I can do that. But I'm not going to help you out with any like serious nutrition advice. Why? Because even though I'm all over nutrition myself, I only did a week's course on my personal training diploma on nutrition. But I can call myself a nutritionist. How crazy is that? Anybody can call themselves a nutritionist. You can do a weekend course for $40, and at the end of it, you're a nutritionist. So what then? I'm going to help people with IBS, IBD, cancer, help them out while they're recovering with their food and this, that, the other. Flipping what? You can kill people. Worst case, you can kill someone, but you can make them really ill, and knock them further back. And not only does it knock them back physically and mentally, but also you're taking money out of their pockets if you're charging them. It's like a scam, in it, in a way. And also, you're going to make them more confused because they put trust in that person. Victor, you're probably the same. You put your trust in those people, haven't you? You put your trust in them, as well as investing money into them or into yourself through them, and you feel burnt. You feel burnt. Now, I am going to play devil's advocate just for 1 second and say this is as a side note. If you are working with somebody like, for example, we've worked, so Charlie Jean has worked with thousands of men, and most of the time, 95, whatever, they're in a percentage, but most of the time, she has got men amazing outcomes, some of which don't even have IBS symptoms anymore. Not cured, but they're just like me, don't really have them anymore. Some every now and again. So different level, but she's got them all amazing outcomes, apart from a few. Now, why have the few, you got to ask yourself, why have they not got an amazing outcome if everybody else has? And she's got the blueprint and the kit, the tools of all this stuff that she can do with them, whether it's, stress, hypnotherapy, food, drink, all this stuff and all the rest. Why have they not got the outcome? And I'll tell you exactly why, looking into it. And it's the same with other, these are the people that work with the proper health professionals like Charlie Jean, the ones that are registered, the ones that are qualified and don't get the outcome. Could be a few reasons. Do they put the effort in? Do you know what I mean? Has that person put the effort in? Have they turned up and done the work? Have they read all the modules if it's an online course, for example? As an example, have they read the modules? Have they put the advice that's been given into practice? Because if you don't do any of that, you're not going to get any results, are you? It's crazy. It's like somebody going to a personal trainer, like coming to me. I don't practice personal training, by the way, so don't message me and say, can you help me out with PT? And I'll give you some advice for free, but I'm not, I don't do a charged personal training like my son does it. I leave that to people that are, they want to do that. But it's like you come into me, a personal trainer, and I say, right, here's a program for you, and you want to maybe the classic fat loss, you want to get shredded. I'm going to do you a 3-month, 6-month shred program, 6-month shred program, based on who you are, your size, everything. Now, here's what you need to do: 3 strength sessions a week. It's going to be a push, a pull for upper body. You're going to do a lower body, a day off, day rest. Then you're going to do a lower body, legs. You can have another day's rest, and then on Saturday, whatever, you're going to go for a zone 2 heart rate run for an hour, and then maybe once a week you can do some cardio as well. So you can do all this stuff, and this is what you want to focus on, like maybe nutrition, this, that, the other. See, nutrition. Happy with that? They're like, yeah, I'm happy with that. Right. $2,000 to pay the money, whatever it costs. And then they come back in a few months' time, they're like, how are you getting on? Rubbish, that program. What do you mean rubbish? Proven program, works, based off you, your size, your height and everything else, and no, it didn't work. Why? What do you mean? I've been to gym lately. No, I haven't been to gym. Been busy with work. So you haven't been to gym? No, I haven't been to gym. Oh, okay. Been running? No, didn't have time the last few weeks. Been really busy, flat out, kids. Do you see what I mean? So if you're not doing the work, and again, I'm not saying you, Victor, I'm not saying Victor's like this, I'm just saying generally, when this is the people that do work with people that are, the health professionals that are qualified and registered and experienced, that don't get the outcome. This is normally why they don't get the outcome. It's because of that person. They're not putting the effort in. They're not putting in the work that's required. Does that make sense? And right, so that to one side. Fake gurus. I did and again, I said I had some stats for you, and it's completely crazy. So as of 2021, and this is 2021, in the US and UK alone, there is over 200,000 health professionals that are not qualified correctly or registered. Over 200,000. 200,000! And then we wonder, we wonder why things are confusing. Why Victor and many other guys, maybe yourself, have not got the outcome. And you've paid time and money into somebody and you've not got the outcome. There's health professionals. Charlie Jean's done a great video. It's on here. Just check it on the YouTube channel about getting qualified after 40 hours. There's courses you can do for $70. Don't go and do one. for $70 for 40 hours, a weekend course. And people are going and doing these courses and then saying they can work with men and women, children with inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel disease, cancers. It's freaking wild, troops. It is wild out there, isn't it? It's like the Wild West, the internet at the minute, especially the health industry. It's absolutely bollocks, to use a word. It's crazy. And it's sad, really, really sad, because of how many people their health is at risk, especially kids. Yeah. And if you're watching this, maybe you believe that we're your competition. We don't have competition because we're the best, and that's it. Not really joking. Yeah, so if you're watching this and you have one of them Booksy, whatever they are, courses that's written on a piece of toilet paper, and you think you can work with somebody with IBS, IBD, cancer, or a really bad illness, an ailment, because you've done some weekend warrior course for $35, $40, and you're not even registered, and you can't be asked to put the money, the time, and the effort into going to university or college and getting the correct qualifications, stop. Look in the mirror and stop. As we used to say in the army to rubbish soldiers that just were consistently rubbish, just hand your army ID card in and go work at McDonald's. Sounds mean, doesn't it? But it's true. If that person can't, not just adding value, but properly adding value, you're causing too many risks. Now, red flags, though, thankfully we can. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. That was 2021, 200,000. Nowadays, because there's red flags, you can easily pick these out, and I'll share some with you now. Nowadays, with AI, with Claude and Gemini, ChatGPT, all these different platforms, they can make themselves sound more professional, get their emails written, their website designed with code, come across as this gleaming health professional. Wow. False testimonials. There's a guy caught recently who, I don't know his name. I'm not sharing any names on here because I don't name drop. It's not right. But there was a guy online and he decided to create a website, I think, or some platform and create, I think it was a number of like 10, 20 profiles of doctors, medical doctors, with pictures of them in their white jackets and their things around their necks, clock, and who they are, their name, their age, their qualifications, their experience of what they can help people with. And he had all these doctors. So they were giving doctors, when you go online and you can get advice off a doctor and pay with your credit card. So I think it was kind of like that. None of these doctors were real. They were all fake. They were all made up with AI. It was all AI. And he was a one-man band at home on his own, running this show. Not even like some college dropout or whatever, just running this thing. Multi-millionaire, like all this money pouring in, helping people with all these illnesses. He's got done, obviously. He got a fraud. And I think he's gone to jail for a long time. Rightly so. What an idiot. But people are doing it. And that's, just as an example there. So 2021, 200,000. You can imagine what it's like now, 2026, with AI as well. It's probably going to be, probably double that, isn't it? It's probably going to be like 500,000, isn't it? All these people that are calling themselves a version of a health professional or a coach. Everyone's a coach, aren't they? I'm a life coach. I'm a health coach. I can coach you in this. I can coach you in everything. I've studied the stars. What? It's mad. So things like red flags then. So they're not registered on the HCPC register. That's the healthcare. I've written it down because I can't remember that. Healthcare Professions Council. That's in the UK. So you could go on there, for example, now and type in Charlie Jean, if you get the spelling right. It's on here. Charlie Jean Cook. And she'll come up registered dietitian. So she's on there. All the registered dietitians, hence registered dietitian, are on that open register. So you can check them out to see, to make sure that they're registered, that they are who they say they are, like she does. And that way you're covered. Okay, so it's covering them, it's covering you as well. So that's important. And they're on there, and they have to be a registered dietitian. Just generally, you've got to have studied at university, have done at least a minimum of a degree, bachelor's degree in different stuff, dietetics. Obviously, CJ's got an MSc, a master's, and took it one further. But you've got to have these qualifications. You can't just do some book like random course and then go on this register. So they've got to be properly qualified. They've got to have gone to a hospital and been, they had all this experience. There's loads of stuff, and then they can help people with IBS and all the other bits and pieces. So you can see the difference there, and it can be difficult for registered dietitians. I'm not impossible, obviously, but it can still be tricky. There's a lot to do with clients, a lot to do, and anyway. So just be aware of that. So that's in UK. So HCPC. I'll put a link. This is live. When it's processed, I'll put links in for you. So you can just click the link, save them to your desktop, and you can check people out. So that's that one. It's CDR. So in the United States, the Commission on Dietetic Registration. There'll be one in Canada as well. So you can check them out. Okay? Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Look after you, your health, your money, and everything. Make sure people are sorted out. Another red flag, they use expensive microbiome tests. There's a completely separate video for microbiome tests that Charlie Jean's done. Blow your mind. Waste of money. And I don't say that lightly. Again, it's not the time to do it today. Go and check that video out. But there's a reason why registered dietitians, gastroenterologists, and medical doctors, general practitioners, don't use them. Yeah. So if a doctor in the UK, a proper doctor, medical doctor, and a registered dietitian are not using microbiome tests, poo tests, why not? Because there isn't enough scientific evidence to support the outcome. All right. In a nutshell, they're rubbish. So just bear that in mind. Maybe you've spent money on them before and you're watching this now because you know further forward. That's why. So it's not your fault. It's all these idiots out there that I'm mentioning. And they're using these microbiome tests. Oh, you got to do this test, and we get this poo sample in, and we're going to tell you all these 1,000 million things that you shouldn't be eating and you shouldn't be doing. You've got a flipping, yeah, that's why. Okay. Next is another red flag. We've said about the weekend certificate and the 40-hour courses, so just be aware of that one. How do you know though? Because you don't. Yeah, if someone's using AI and they're making themselves sound amazing, and they've got all this stuff on their about page. Ask them. Say, listen, first of all, if the name's on the website, put them in the register. See if they're registered anywhere. Not registered. Red flag. Get rid. That's the first one, isn't it? And you can also ask them when you're an inquiry in an email or on the phone, and just say to them, I'm struggling to find on your website. I'm a man, I've got IBS, I've got IBD, I've got whatever I want help with potentially, but I'm struggling to find on your about page or on your website what qualifications you hold. What have you done that specifically allows you to help me or whoever for this condition? And if they just fall all over their excuses, just put the phone down. Obviously be polite, but do you know what I mean? That's what I would do. That's what my advice would be. Otherwise, you're just risking your health, wasting your money, wasting your time. Get it? So that's it. It's obviously getting worse, not better, unfortunately. That is the sad part of it all, is it is getting worse and not better. There is a lot of fake gurus out there. There's the blatant ones, the charlatans, and then there's the people. Listen, I'm not throwing rocks and stones and arrows at all these people collectively, because as I said before, and if you're watching this and you've got some of these qualifications are good for certain things. But again, it goes back to staying online, staying on them tracks of what you can do within the parameters of that qualification. And they don't do it. They just go off on a tangent. The other thing is they try selling you supplements. What's all that about? I've seen loads of websites when we've done research, again, no names, where I'm so itching to give you some names and examples on here and some square, but it's not right. But they share supplements, or they want you to subscribe or whatever to these supplements, and you've got to take them forever. to get your IBS not cured or controlled because we're in a cure, or have a decent level of control, but just have it like a little bit out of the way. Got to keep taking these supplements. Let's have this microbiome test and then we'll do all these supplements and then we'll see where we go from there. What? Come on, guys. Yeah, you're a professional, intelligent man. Yeah, look out for these things. Use this, watch it again if you need to, and keep yourself safe. Look after your health, your wealth, and all that jazz. Right, that's it in a nutshell. Listen, if you've got any questions that you want, maybe some of these today resonated with you. If so, just whack a thumbs up in the comments, just so I know it resonated. Even if one thing helped you, just one thing, just put a thumbs up in the thing, and I know somewhere on YouTube you're there, human to human, not AI. Bang, it's worked. Something's helped you, and you're going to implement it. But listen, knowledge is nothing unless you put it into practice. When you apply it to your life, then it becomes wisdom, doesn't it? You can then have that wisdom. Apply the knowledge. Even if one thing today resonated with you, or you think, right, I'm going to do this or do that, write it down so you don't forget, and just do it straight away, or tomorrow morning first thing. Apply it, apply it, apply it. If it don't work, well, what's the worst can happen? It didn't work. What's the best outcome? It did work. Happy with that? That's it in a nutshell. If you've got any you want to ask me anything, either drop a comment on this the YouTube platform. It can be on any of our videos. Drop a comment and ask a question. All my ask is, if you've got value from this today, and hopefully it really resonated with you, and you've got some takeaways that you can apply to your life to make you become a better man, more informed moving forwards, subscribe to the channel, because it helps this channel grow and pushes it out to more men like you. It's your way of giving back. It's not for me. It's not that ego, and it's just to help this get in front of more people, more men that are struggling with IBS. There's one in, I think it's millions of men. There's billions of YouTube users, so there's millions of men here on YouTube, men that have either knowingly or unknowingly got IBS. So if you're just one person watching this, and you could just do that one thing, pushing it out. That's it. If you've got any questions, again, that you want to ask me, email me, Glenn, GLENN, and I'll put a link in the description after this, at mensibsmastery.com. Email me in if you want to be discreet and not put it in the comments, and ask me a question. And on the next live IBS Q&A that I do, I'll try and answer it. Take care. All